The skies over Latveria were thick with storm clouds, a deep and unnatural green flickering within their depths. The wind carried the scent of ozone and smoldering steel, the aftermath of an earlier skirmish that left the outer defenses of Castle Doom in ruins. Smoke curled from shattered turrets and twisted remains of Doombots, their metallic husks scattered like discarded toys. Iron Man hovered above the battlefield, his repulsors humming, his armor reflecting the eerie glow of Doom's domain. His HUD flickered with warnings, damage sustained from breaking through Latveria's defenses, power consumption at a dangerous threshold, but nothing he couldn't handle. He had one objective: take down Victor Von Doom before the tyrant could unleash another world-ending catastrophe. Below, at the steps of his ruined fortress, stood Dr. Doom, cloaked in emerald fabric, armor gleaming with sorcerous energy. His presence alone seemed to distort reality. The air around him shimmered, crackling with the power of science and sorcery intertwined. The mask, cold, expressionless, turned upward to meet Stark's gaze. A beat of silence passed. Then Doom raised his hand. A pulse of green energy erupted from his gauntlet, twisting through the air like a serpent, reaching for Iron Man with impossible speed. Stark barely had time to react. Thrusters at full burn, he veered left, the arcane blast grazing his armor, sending shockwaves through his nanite systems. Diagnostics flooded his HUD, energy readings spiked. The attack hadn't just damaged the suit, it had disrupted the very fabric of its design. Doom wasn't playing fair. He never did. Iron Man retaliated, his repulsors flaring white-hot. He fired. Twin plasma beams tore through the air, aimed straight at Doom's chest. But Doom didn't move. Instead, the beams halted midair. The energy twisted, warped, and collapsed into nothingness, as if the very laws of physics refused to work against Doom's will. Stark's mind raced. No absorption field, no deflection barrier. Doom had simply willed his attack out of existence. Not good. Iron Man switched tactics. His shoulder plate shifted, revealing micro-missile launchers. Targeting locked, tracking Doom's arcane energy signature rather than his physical form. 5 missiles launched in rapid succession, streaking through the air with heat-seeking precision. Doom's fingers twitched. A gust of wind howled through the battlefield, thick with whispers in an ancient tongue. The missiles froze mid-flight, encased in an ethereal glow before imploding into themselves, reduced to harmless flickers of light. Stark's patience ran thin. He dived, boosting toward Doom at Mach speed, his gauntlet shifting into plasma blades. He sliced through the air, aiming for Doom's exposed midsection, but Doom was gone. A flicker, a distortion. Before Stark could react, a force slammed into him from behind. Doom had teleported, appearing above him, an armored fist crackling with mystic fire. The blow sent Stark plummeting into the ruins of Castle Doom, stone and debris crumbling around him, metal groan, his systems flashing red. Damage registered. Armor integrity, 72%. Power consumption, high. Doom wasn't just attacking him physically. His magic was eating away at the suit's energy reserves. Stark pushed himself up, shaking off the impact, already recalculating. He needed a new approach. Doom was expecting brute force. Fine, time to do what he did best. Adapt from his forearm compartments. Stark deployed a pulse drone, a small sphere hovering beside him. Within seconds, it mapped Doom's immediate surroundings, scanning for arcane distortions. A pattern emerged. Doom's teleportation was an instant. It left behind trace residuals of energy. A fraction of a second delay. That was all Stark needed. He surged forward again, but this time it was a feint. He fired a disruptor round straight at Doom's feet. A projectile specifically designed to neutralize teleportation fields for just a moment. It worked. Doom attempted to blink away, but instead of vanishing, his form flickered erratically, locked in place for half a second. Long enough for Stark to land a direct hit. The force of the impact sent Doom crashing backward, his cloak igniting in flames, his armor dented from the sheer force of the kinetic pulse. Stark didn't let up. With a flick of his wrist, his nanite shifted, forming an energy cannon over his forearm. He charged it, aiming for Doom's chestplate, where arcane symbols pulsed with power. Before he could fire, Doom moved again. A shockwave of pure erupted from the monarch, forcing Iron Man off his feet, sending him skidding across the stone courtyard. Stark dug his hands into the ground, stabilizing himself just in time to see Doom rise from the smoke. Angry now, his eyes burned beneath the mask, and the very air trembled. The sky above them darkened, and Stark knew the real fight was only just beginning. Iron Man wasted no time. Thrusters roared to life as he rocketed forward, pushing the suit's agility to its limits. His repulsors charged for another strike, targeting the weak points in Doom's armor that his sensors had detected. But before he could fire, Doom raised his hand. A rift tore open between them, a jagged wound in reality itself. From within, shadowy tendrils shot forth, reaching for Stark like living chains. He twisted midair, barely dodging as a tendril struck the ground where it had been milliseconds before, leaving behind deep, smoldering scars in the stone. The energy they emitted wasn't just magic. It was something else, something that disrupted the very fabric of his suit's nanotechnology. Doom strode forward, the torn edges of his scorched cloak billowing behind him. He was unharmed, his armor shimmering as if reality itself refused to let him be touched. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed another wave of raw magical energy, a concussive force that surged outward like a tidal wave. Iron Man braced himself, diverting power to his shields, but the impact was still enough to send him skidding backward across the battlefield. Stark's mind worked at impossible speed. Doom wasn't just using brute force, he was rewriting the battlefield, shaping it to his will. Every attack Stark launched was either negated or redirected before it could do any lasting damage. He needed a new approach. He scanned Doom's armor again, analyzing its structure in real time. The plating wasn't just reinforced with physical durability. It was woven with enchantments, layers upon layers of protective runes that made it impervious to traditional energy-based attacks. But nothing was truly invincible. If Doom had to keep recharging his defenses, then somewhere within that armor was a power source, a core, a conduit, something he could disrupt. Before he could formulate a plan, Doom attacked again. This time, the ground itself rose up against Stark, forming jagged stone spikes aimed directly at his chest. He blasted downward, his repulsors melting the stone beneath him. But the moment he touched the ground, the earth split apart, swallowing him in an instant. Darkness consumed him. For a moment, there was silence, then a crushing pressure from all sides. Stark's suit sensors adjusted, detecting immense gravitational forces pressing in, holding him in place. Doom had created a pocket of pure compression, an arcane prison designed to crush him out of existence. With a calculated burst of energy, he redirected all auxiliary power into a single explosive discharge, his arc reactor pulsed, sending a shockwave of electromagnetic force outward. The prison of compressed energy buckled under the strain, shattering into fragments of dissipating light. Stark shot upward, breaking free just in time to see Doom's next attack already in motion. A sphere of crackling green energy hovered above Doom's outstretched palm, pulsating with raw destruction. The air around it distorted, space itself warping under the sheer concentration of magical force. Doom released it. The energy sphere surged forward, a miniature black hole of destructive might. Stark knew instinctively, this wasn't something he could just dodge. The pull of its force was already dragging him in. He had no choice but to neutralize it head-on. With a flick of his wrist, his nanocore shifted, reconfiguring into an energy siphon. A desperate move, but his only option. As the sphere closed in, he extended his gauntlets forward, absorbing the outer layers of energy. The force was overwhelming, searing through his suit's reserves at an alarming rate. The arc reactor strained under the load, heat rising past safe limits. For a moment, the battle seemed frozen in time. Iron Man and Doom locked in a struggle of power, technology versus sorcery, man versus monarch. But Stark wasn't just holding back the attack. He was learning from it. His suit's AI analyzed the properties of the energy, breaking down its structure. Doom's magic had rules, and anything with rules could be exploited. With a sudden burst of repulsor force, Stark redirected the remaining energy back toward Doom in a focused concussive beam. Doom barely had time to react before the force struck him square in the chest. His armor shuddered, the impact forcing him back several steps. For the first time in the battle, Doom had been caught off guard. It wasn't enough to defeat him. Not yet, but it was a start. As Doom recovered, his glowing eyes narrowed beneath his mask. The very air around him trembled as he began chanting in a language Stark couldn't even begin to comprehend. The words bent reality, forming a vortex of shifting energy around him. Whatever Doom was preparing, it was beyond anything he had unleashed so far. Stark knew he couldn't let him finish. His nano-weapon systems recalibrated, forming a new offensive pattern. This time, he didn't aim directly at Doom. Instead, he targeted the battlefield itself. The castle ruins, the stone structures. He fired a series of high-frequency energy pulses, embedding them into the surrounding environment. Doom's magic might have made him nearly invulnerable, but Latveria wasn't. The moment the charges were set, Stark triggered a cascading detonation sequence. The entire battlefield shook with explosive force, the very foundations of Castle Doom collapsing inward. Ancient stone crumbled, flames erupted, and the air filled with dust and debris. For the first time, Doom was forced to react offensively. His incantation faltered as he raised his arms, summoning protective barriers to shield himself from the destruction. And in that moment of distraction, Stark made his move. With blazing speed, he surged forward, closing the distance before Doom could recover. His gauntlet shifted again, nanites forming a concentrated vibrational pulse generator. One strike, one precise blow. He drove his fist directly into Doom's chest plate, targeting the hidden power source he had identified earlier. The impact sent a shockwave through Doom's armor, causing it to flicker, distort, then crack. For the first time, Doom staggered. Iron Man didn't hesitate. He followed up with another blast, pouring every last ounce of power into a concentrated repulsor beam at point-blank range. The energy ripped through Doom's defenses, sending him hurtling backward, his cloak ablaze, his armor sparking with damage. Stark landed hard, breathing heavily, his systems pushed to the brink. His suit was nearly depleted, power reserves dangerously low. But Doom was down. Doom had lost. The battle was over. The end.